Welcome to the Peace Place. This is Coach Judy, and I invite you to discover with me and learn to live in that place of peace that passes all understanding. If it's an unfamiliar place to you, we can discover and learn to live in that place on an ongoing basis. We can learn to live as a way of life amidst any storms that we face. We can have the peace of God that passes all understanding. Today, I just want to share with you a word of encouragement and hope and love in a world that's gone astray. A word, a reminder that God is real, He's available. And when we learn of His rules and learn to follow His rules, He will reveal a plan to each one of us. He will order our steps and remold us into His plan for life, and that is a plan of love and of service. 8 years ago, I cried out to Him amidst a time where my mom had just passed, and I was just really wondering. I wasn't interested in settling just for religion or anything of man's understanding. I truly hungered and thirsted for a place of a deep indwelling relationship. And I heard God say to me at that time, if you will learn to abide in me, I will abide in you, and I will be your teacher. I was quite amazed that God would speak to me because privately I had many criticisms about myself, as probably many of you also do. But I want to tell you, those criticisms that you may have held for a lifetime are not worth holding on to. For what really matters is the plan that God has for us, and that He is available to us to order our steps and to teach us what we need to know. And His plans are good, and He has a plan for each of us. So, to my amazement, when I asked Him to teach me how to learn to abide in Him, He did. And in the process of that, He molded me into a penman. I don't say as an author, or though I am an author of many books out of His mercy and His grace. He started speaking to me as I went to Him in prayer. I learned that I can have an intimate relationship and a responsive relationship with the living God. I have much experience in psychology and understanding the way the mind works. And what I can tell you from experience, that what happens when God speaks to you is that it comes deep from within your spirit. And many would have you believe that there's something wrong with your mind, but I can tell you the place of God's love is much different than the distorted place of our minds. So I just started writing what I was hearing, and I would grab my phone and I would pen these prayons, as they're now called, as fast as I could type them. And through the 1,000 of them that He has given me so far, I can tell when He begins speaking, and I can tell when He ends speaking, and I can tell when I try to include my good ideas, and I just push backspace and eliminate them. So I hope that as I share today's prayers with you, the name came from the idea that they are prayers that we pray, and their poetry that came out of this. I'm still amazed every time that I reread. He teaches me something new from them. So today, I invite you to engage with me. I invite you to listen from deep in your heart of love. And you can also speak to your mind and tell it just to be quiet for a while. You can learn as we go through the process, we can learn that we really have the power and the authority to speak to our minds and their foolishness and tell them to quit. So today, the name of the prayer that I will share with you is called Who Will Stand? Who will stand in this generation? Who will stand with bold determination? Who will stand in the shedding of tears? Who will stand for the redemption of years? Yes, who will stand? Who will stand and not be swayed? Who will stand and not be played? Through the decades, we've walked through the trials, through the heartaches, deceptions, and miles of rough roads. Yet, we're far from ready to be cast aside. Yes, we're far from ready to bail from this ride. We've stood and been strengthened through every turn, diligent, determined, and continuing to learn all we can. Now we see through eyes sometimes seasoned and wise. We seek first the one who embraced us. We stood on our own. We understand all alone. We knelt, surrendered, and allowed God to reshape us. We desire to be seen as more than gray in the crowd, reshaped and restored. Yes, we're crying out loud. Don't miss us. Don't shelve us. Don't warehouse us away. Make with us a space, yes, a space where we may pour out and flow. A place where we're asked, what do you know? A place we're embraced, a place we can show that there is more that's left in us than has been poured out to date. For in our hearts and hands, it is not too late to help shift. When honor is spoken, just what does that mean? To walk by as quietly as though we're not seen? For as we still walk, a big price has been paid. There's perseverance and courage in that path we've laid. Yes, Osias. There is much in our minds and our hearts to be shared. There's so much desire to be linked and be paired with ones who can and will listen to the wisdom formed, ones not afraid to step out of the politically correct norms that say ignore them. Oh God, oh hear us. Consider the thought, they may not yet be done. We're finding our voice through the battles we've won. We've much more to say than just talk of the past. We've come with boldness and strength, proven that last. Yes, include us. The scars we carry, the healed of our hearts, our transparent hunger, our countless new starts, our resilient devotion to those we love, when solidly embraced, could give all a big shove into his arms. Include the wisdom of one lessons in life, embracing connection and stomping out strife. We ask as you see us, as you glance our way, remember we're believing for a power-filled day. Yes, we're standing. Now, many of the stanzas in here certainly sound like they're from the older generation, of course, of which I am proudly a part. I turned 70 in December, and I'm clear my best is yet to come. And as many of my age group have sat down and they're resigned that they can't make the kind of difference that God intends for us as the mature, as the elders to make. We have so much to pour out into the next generations, and yet this poem, Pray On, is also intended for all generations. For as we think about who will stand It doesn't matter what age, there's much wisdom in young people, some young people today. And there are many, many that have not even begun to be taught about honor and about that God has a plan or that God even exists. You all know there are many movements to eliminate the name of God and the ways of God from our culture, and yet it's so desperately what we're all crying for. So be one who stands for this generation. Learn what it is to have bold determination, which is not the same as intimidation. So we must learn the truth, the truth of what love is, and that's what this peace movement is about. Is most of the time the word love in our culture has been replaced with lust and all of that means. And at the end of the day or in the morning when we wake up and we do not have the tenderness of the love of God, we have missed the one of the greatest gifts that we have to embrace and learn about and share in life. So don't be swayed and don't be one who's been played. There are many of us that live through the decades of many hard trials, and not for you to feel sorry for us, but to realize that as long as we're still standing, there have been valuable lessons that have been learned. I invite you to engage people of all ages and realize how much of the time we just operate in our own opinions and judgments and fear and terror, and we never really connect with people. But social media and our phones and all of that has given us one way to stay disconnected, to have a lack of intimacy, to have a lack of personal relationships. And this is what we all hunger for. We hunger to belong. We attempt to belong to others. But if we do not know the power and the love, the unconditional love of God, what we pass on to others is very diluted down and often distorted, and it's far from love. On my journey, when I came back into the church, I was very wounded. I was very ignorant of the idea that God is love, and certainly didn't know much about what love meant. But we can learn that. We can continue to discover what it is that God has for us. And that's what my invitation and my encouragement is for you. So I just invite you to, if any of this has touched your heart, and you have become interested, and I want you to know that God has given us a structure to where we can share 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're developing the way that we can release that on our website. You can find us at prayhomes.com. And there's a very detailed description of what our agenda is. And basically, our agenda is to become like the image of God, with peace, love, and joy as the foundation of what we have to share. And so you can discover more about what the peace movement is. That they're the agenda for good, for God is good, and it is agenda to continue to make a difference in our world today. Another way that you can connect with us is you can subscribe to our channel here. You can tell people about what we're doing after this live broadcast. It goes into the archive, and you can share it with, tell people how to get here and find us, and invite them into the process of living a life of peace and love and joy, and how to spread that rather than the agendas and options that are offered by the world. You can, as I said, you can explore the website at Prayhomes. That's PRAYOEMS.com. And so that's it for today. I hope this has been an encouraging word for you. I pray that your day is a blessed day. So this is Coach Judy signing out for the day and inviting you to join me tomorrow at 11. Monday through Friday, I'll meet you here live at 11. And on Fridays, we've opened up part of the forum for you to be able to ask questions about what in the world it is that we're doing. What would have us believe that we can be the ones that help make the shift in the world? We know that's true because the power of the creative God is in us, behind us, and for us. So Friday, it's live online with questions. So I offer you peace, love, and joy for you today. And this is Coach Judy signing out.